Hey guys, I want to give you a quick tour of the 2023 Volvo XC60 T8 Recharge. Now, as the name may say, the T8 Recharge is a plug-in hybrid, and because it's a plug-in hybrid, you do get this plug right here to charge the battery pack, as you can see. But this thing is a power monster, 455 horsepower, over 530 pound-feet of torque. This thing is a beast. You get your 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder up front, your batteries and electric motors out back. This one has air suspension. It is pretty damn loaded. We'll look at the Maroni in a second and check out these really sick wheels that Volvo is giving you on this one. Well, you're choosing for these. Super sweet tires, Scorpion Zero rubber wrapped around them. Of course, you can go for even more eco-friendly specs, so you can probably get more range out of that battery pack in there. Since we have the dark theme, you can see the dark trim around the side mirrors, the dark trim around the mirrors. We also have the more aggressive front fascia of what used to be the R design package, which is now the dark theme package. I think it looks a lot sportier than this. And of course, you can also upgrade to the Polestar engineered or the full-on Polestar model, which will definitely get you a lot more power. Well, almost around the same amount of power. You can opt for a little bit more. But the big difference of the Polestar is you're going to get a crazier suspension and some stuff. Out back, you can see the signature Volvo taillights right here, the XC60 on it, and you're also going to see T8 all-wheel drive Recharge right here. Sorry, it's a little dirty right now, winter weather. And with the dark theme package, you get this kind of more aggressive lower bumper area, which I think looks pretty cool. And these cars always look sick at night as well. If you want to pop open the boot, you can just kick your foot under there. It should open right up for you. Doesn't have a third row, but you definitely do get a lot of space in the interior. A lot of cool Volvo quirks. The seats do fold down. And we have a full black interior on this one. If you want, you can even close it like this as well, which I think is really cool. Let's take a quick tour on the interior and then take this thing for a little bit of a drive, because it's surprisingly quick with all this power. And I think it looks pretty cool. And even though the XC60 has been on the market for a while, Volvo's been keeping it pretty well updated. I think it still looks pretty fresh. Okay guys, getting in the XC60 Recharge is pretty easy. You can use keyless access. Of course, you can use the key fob as well. Inside, we have the upgraded Bowers & Wilkins audio system, which is fantastic. You can see the Recharge side sill mat right there. We also have the upgraded Napa leather seats on this one, which is the adjustable thigh support. Really nice seats. They're perforated, heated, and cooled. Beautiful panoramic sunroof. And also back here, of course, you're gonna get a lot of leg room. Again, those really nice metal Bowers & Wilkins speaker grills. Pretty roomy in here as well. XC60 is pretty good with that. You do get heated rear seats, little storage cubby. Again, really spacious with that big glass roof. And check out that front up there. Let's go hop up front again. I really like how Volvo, these lights are actually not fully illuminated, but there's a little cool ring that lights up around them, even while you're driving around at night, which I think looks kind of cool. It's definitely a Volvo quirk, I would call it. Up front in the XC60 Recharge, nothing has changed too much in terms of design of the XC60 and most of Volvo's lineup, but you do get the new Google-based infotainment system over here with Apple CarPlay. You also get a larger display over there, and of course, this is the upgraded Bowers & Wilkins audio system. You see this little speaker up here, which is really cool and nicely presented with the metal grille around it. I think that looks really nice. Starting up your XC60, just put your foot on the brake. You can find your start-stop button here. It should power right to life. Like that. Signature Volvo chime. And you can hear that it is now quiet in here because it starts up in pure electric mode. And on the dash, you can see you have your battery range and you also have your gas range. And you can change those in the settings. So if you go to settings and go to driving, you can change your modes from hybrid, power, pure, off-road, and constant all-wheel drive. Constant all-wheel drive actually is pretty interesting because most of the time the car will actually run in front-wheel drive when the engine is powering the front wheels. The engine does not power the rear wheels at all, actually, which is pretty interesting. The electric motors only power the rear wheels. So constant all-wheel drive will keep both of those systems constantly working together. You can always also start in pure mode, which means you always start in EV mode. And you have your hybrid battery kind of settings right here. You can have an automatic where it'll switch between holding the state of the battery charge or charging it only. And then you can manually do that by holding the battery charge or keeping it at a certain level. Or you can charge the battery with the engine. You see the engine just turned on right now. You can see the little fuel gauge. It looks like a little petrol symbol right there, which is pretty cool. And if I put it in auto, it will figure itself out. So the engine just turned off because we have enough electric range. Steering assist modes, all your safety systems. And since it has a one pedal drive mode, which you pop this into B, that's your kind of like regenerative braking mode. You can have a creep function, so the car will still creep like a regular gas engine, even when you're driving in electric mode. And this one also comes with adaptive air suspension, so it will kind of lower for easy entry and exit, which is pretty nice. And also the car also looks really cool when it's lowered down. Really nice 360 cameras on this one. And they do pop up when you're getting close to things. Unfortunately, it's not like advanced where you can kind of like move the car around, but I think this is pretty fine for what it is. Like I said, heated, cooled seats, as well as a heated steering wheel, and your climate control systems, which is really nice as well. And yeah, so Volvo's infotainment system isn't the worst thing on the planet, but I wouldn't say it's the best either. We can see this beautiful glowing crystal shifter right here. This is Orfor's Swedish crystal, which looks really cool in this ultimate package. And we have this really nice open pore kind of wood inlay trim here. It's also on the dash. This dash also is in stitched leather, which is really nice. You can get these XC60 Recharges a lot cheaper than this one is. We'll just look at them really quick, because this one is pretty fully loaded. This one's at $76,000, but they do start in the high 50s now. But you are gonna sacrifice some of the luxury features. You can kind of see that glowing emblem that I was showing you guys before. And I do like this display. It's pretty fine, but once you put on Apple Maps, this little map screen will definitely disappear, unfortunately. But it is a pretty calm interior. It's very quiet in here. It's just very Volvo, and I am excited to see what the new interiors with the upcoming new products that are coming out. Way more technology, way more stuff. So hopefully that will kind of like give this interior a little bit of a tech refresh, which I think it needs a little bit. But let's go take this thing on a drive, and I can show you some of the driving performance of the XC60 Recharge. Okay guys, we are inside the XC60 Recharge, and the vehicle is on now, but you can't hear anything because it is in pure mode. I'm going to pop it into, well, let's keep it in pure mode for right now, but I'm going to keep this page open so I can pop it into let's put pure mode, pure electric. We have one pedal driving on, and let's set off. As you can hear, it is super, super quiet in this Volvo XC60. And that's one of the best things about these Volvos, is that they're comfortable and really quiet and just refined vehicles. You're not going to be getting the most crazy modern technology out of it, other than, of course, you're paying for that powertrain, because it's really, really cool. So like I said before, up front is your 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that it only powers the front wheels, and it can also charge the battery pack. In the rear of the vehicle, you got the battery pack as well as electric motors, and that is what is powering the rear wheels. So there's kind of like two engines going on here, which is really interesting. That's been Volvo's kind of twin engine kind of philosophy, but now they're calling it Recharge for their electrified vehicle lineup. And as you can see, we're still in full electric mode right now, and it's pretty smooth. And when you're in pure mode, it will stay in pure mode until that battery runs out, which is pretty cool. And of course, you can pop it into hybrid and power modes when you want to. So if I pop it into hybrid mode, the engine will kick on at that point up there. So when I press the accelerator pedal up to that little fuel drip sign right there, then the gas engine will kick on. So let's see what happens when I do that. Engine kicks on, and we got more power. You can hear it on now. So that's pretty cool. And with 455 horsepower and over 500 pound-feet of torque, when this full powertrain is operating, that's a lot for a midsize SUV. Now you can see I just took my foot off the accelerator, and it went full regen because we're in brake mode, or I call it B mode, regenerative braking mode. And you can also turn on, like I said earlier, creep, so it'll kind of activate or kind of operate like a normal gas vehicle would when you would take your foot off the gas, and it kind of just creeps along in traffic. But when you're in full regen mode, it'll actually come to a full complete stop, which I think is pretty cool. This infotainment system is fine. You have Google Maps built in. If you want to, I believe you can kind of find electric charging stations if you really only want to use the charger. But of course, you have the beauty of the gas engine in there as well. So when you hop into power mode, the air suspension drops down. You can hear it lowering right now on all four corners, which is really cool. And you're gonna get that full power out of the engine. Holy Jesus. And there you go. That wasn't a true 0 to 60 test, but that's when you're getting that full power output. Now you have to keep in mind, you're gonna get that full power output really when both the battery and the motors are gonna be charged. So if the electric motor doesn't have, or electric battery doesn't have like your full charge in it, you're not gonna be getting that full power out of it, which is kind of unfortunate. So you can want to either keep it charged all the time, or you're going to want to have it into like hold mode or charge mode to kind of like get things all juiced up in there, which is pretty cool. And like I said, you can also have steering feel firm turned on if you want to have like a little bit of a heavier steering feedback, but even with that on, it's still pretty heavy. But I'm going to stop talking about this as a performance car, because that's not what it is. It is a family crossover at the end of the day, and I think it does a fantastic job at that. It's comfortable, quiet, like I said before, and it gets the job done really well. And if you want to have that blend of kind of hybrid power and with a little bit of that extended range of the electric powertrain, these are really great. And Volvo's kind of doing a great job in this segment right now of selling these plug-in vehicles. They're offering it now in basically almost all of their models, except for the 40 series, which is fully electric, can be operated as fully electric. And even in full power mode, it is pretty smooth. I love that. Now, if you do want a bigger vehicle, there is always the XC90, and that as well comes in this powertrain option. But Volvo is going to be going more fully electric pretty soon, and they'll be offering things like the EX90, which will be coming late 2023 into 2024, which is their fully electric 7-passenger vehicle, which is going to be really cool. Excited for that. Wow, that is punchy. It's definitely a punchy vehicle. But yeah, I think these are pretty cool cars. And if you're a fan of Volvos, how could you not love these? And you also have your Pro Pilot Assist functions over here on the steering wheel. So when you activate these, it will do adaptive cruise control, like it's doing now. Obviously, we're not on a highway, so this isn't the best setting to check that out. And this one is kind of like the more advanced version, where it will also have steering assist. I have to say, Volvo's steering assist and Subaru's steering assist functions are some of my favorite. When you're on a highway, they really truly do steer you around turns without your hands on it. And now, you're obviously not supposed to take your hands off the steering wheel, but they genuinely can and kind of steer you, which is pretty cool. Some of the other cars will kind of just like bump you in and out of lanes, but Volvo's been doing these systems for a really long time, and they kind of have it down packed pretty well. And I do wish there was an easier drive mode selector. It is kind of difficult sometimes to kind of have to go through all these menus to change all these drive modes all the time. But let's see a turning circle right here. Ooh, not the best thing on the planet. Will we make it? Safe up there. We'll make it. Awesome. And we're still in power mode. But honestly, sure, you have all that power. I do think it's actually pretty fun to drive this in pure mode. You can see right now we're going down the hill. We're regenerative braking, putting all that energy that's going down right back into the battery pack. And believe it or not, just from driving around town, just within B mode, I actually gained like 2 miles of range, which is pretty cool. Pure mode. And look at that, right back in EV mode. That, I think, is really cool. They can just switch it into that and have a really quiet experience. If you don't want to have the engine on, I think that's pretty cool. So you guys, thank you for joining me on this quick drive of the XC60 Recharge. And I would definitely consider looking at one of these if you really are into a plug-in hybrid vehicle and you don't want to go all out to get a full EV just yet, and you want that convenience of having the gas engine while having like a decent amount of electric range. I would definitely look into one of these. They're pretty luxurious inside if you can option them. Sure, they get a little expensive, but I think they're fantastic daily cruisers. And if you do a lot of miles, do a lot of highway driving, or even just going around town for work, these are pretty sweet. So stay tuned for a lot more videos coming soon with Allcarnews, and thank you guys again for watching.
Hey.